Navitas just made a move that could quietly reshape the power behind the AI boom. Because while everyone else is watching GPUs and AI chips, the real bottleneck here might actually be the power systems that are feeding those data centers. And that's exactly where Navitas is positioning itself. Now, I went through the tech releases, the financials, the valuation numbers, and there are a few things that I think many of us investors are completely overlooking. And that's why in this video, I'm going to walk you through three things. First, what Navitas just announced and why this new silicon carbide platform could actually matter for AI infrastructure. And second, what its earnings numbers actually tell us about the company's transition into high power markets. And third, whether the stock at around $9 a share is still attractive or if investors may already be pricing it a little bit too much growth. Because, when a semiconductor stock trades at, roughly 45 times sales, you'd honestly expect, the growth story to be crystal clear, wouldn't you? And if that growth doesn't show up anytime soon, well, the downside risk could be just as big as the opportunity. My name is Rick Orford. I'm a Wall Street Journal bestselling author. I've been trading since 1999. No, I'm not a financial advisor. That's a good thing. I break down the numbers so retail investors like us can make smarter, more confident decisions with our money. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. And you all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investment. So I'm proud to partner with The Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from their popular product, Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beaten the market by almost 6 times. Go to fool.com/RickO to get your 10 stock picks right now. Navitas Semiconductor is what you'd call a next-generation power semiconductor company. Now, instead of focusing on traditional silicon chips, the company builds power solutions using gallium nitride, or GaN, and silicon carbide, or SiC. Now, hear me out. Most investors, they're focusing on the chips doing the computing. These are the GPUs, the AI accelerators, the CPUs. But every single one of those chips, those systems, they all need power conversion and power management. And as AI infrastructure scales up, that demand for efficient power systems, well, it's growing fast. And that's exactly where Navitas is operating. The company holds a large patent portfolio covering both GaN and SiC technologies. Now, gallium nitride allows power systems to switch faster and run more efficiently in more compact designs. And silicon carbide, well, this one is designed for higher voltages, higher temperatures, and higher power density. So it's especially useful in things like electric vehicles, renewable energy, industrial equipment, and increasingly, AI data centers. Now, Navitas integrates much of this technology into what it calls GaN-fast power ICs. These chips combine the power transistor, the driver, the control circuitry, and the protection features all into one single package. So instead of using several components, manufacturers can just use one chip that's smaller and more efficient. And at the same time, the company also sells GeneSiC silicon carbide MOSFETs and diodes, all designed for higher voltage systems. Now, these are used in applications like EV charging, energy infrastructure, solar systems, and large industrial power systems. Now, until recently, Navitas has unveiled something brand new. Just a few weeks ago, the company introduced its 5th generation silicon carbide trench assistant planar technology. According to management, this is a brand new platform that delivers about 35% improvement in figure of merit compared to prior generations. Now, that might sound technical, but I think this is the easiest way to think about it. It means the chip can deliver more power with better efficiency and lower losses. Sounds great, right? And the company is targeting that technology directly at AI data centers, those energy storage systems, the EV charging infrastructure, solar power, and other industrial systems. So, in other words, some of the fastest growing power markets in the world. But technology announcements, they're one thing. The real question investors today care about is this: is the business actually growing? So before getting into the financials, let's have a quick look at the stock. Navitas is currently trading at around $9 a share, and the stock is up about 25% year to date. Zooming out to the full 52-week period, the move has been much bigger. The stock surged roughly 289% over the past year. Now, looking at the chart, we can see that the stock climbed all the way to about $18 a share in mid-October, before pulling back and trading sideways since then. And this recent sell-off is exactly where some investors start seeing opportunity. But the bigger question remains: is Navitas actually the best semiconductor pick right now? These topics come up all the time in my Discord channel, so let's break it down, starting with the latest financial results. For the quarter, Navitas hit a very important milestone under what it calls its Navitas 2.0 strategy. For the very first time in the company's history, high-power markets accounted for the majority of revenue. At the same time, mobile dropped to less than 25% of total sales. And that shift is very important. It's because the company is intentionally moving away from the smaller mobile power markets and focusing more on high-power applications. Things like AI data centers, energy infrastructure, industrial electrification, and performance computing. This is all higher-margin products. And management believes those markets could represent a roughly $3.5 billion opportunity by the end of the decade. And the company expects revenue to begin growing again in the first quarter, with growth building through 2026. Now, to support that shift, Navitas has also been launching new products and building new strategic partnerships. Let me give you an example. The company recently unveiled its 5th generation Gen 6 silicon carbide technology. This is essentially a more advanced version of the power chips that the company already sells. Now, the new generation is designed to handle higher voltages and more demanding operating conditions, and that just makes it especially useful in fast-growing markets like AI data centers, energy infrastructure, and industrial power systems. So, the technology is allowing Navitas to deliver more power with greater efficiency and reliability. And another important piece of the strategy is manufacturing. Navitas has also announced a long-term tech and manufacturing partnership with global foundries. You'd think that securing domestic semiconductor manufacturing would be important right now, and it is. This partnership helps strengthen supply chain stability while also giving Navitas a clearer path to scaling production. The company also expects that manufacturing availability will begin around late this year, and all of that could help support higher volume commercialization. At the same time, Navitas is expanding its 100-volt and 650-volt GaN solutions that are aimed directly at AI data centers. Specifically, it's targeting the 800-volt HVDC and 48-volt power architectures. And AI data centers are creating structural growth in power demand. So positioning products around those architectures places Navitas in a higher value layer of the power stack. Now, beyond that, the company is also expanding ultra-high voltage SiC sampling, building partnerships in India, and growing its global distribution network. And all of this is just aimed at strengthening its position within AI data centers, grid infrastructure, and industrial electrification. Now, for the full year 2025, Navitas generated, just $46 million in revenue. And it's actually down about 45% from where it was in 2024, but there is a good reason, which I just explained. Operating expenses, though, for the year totaled about $122 million, and that includes research spending, admin costs, amortization, and restructuring charges. Even though expenses declined compared to 2024, the company still reported an operating loss of about $108 million. Now, net loss for the year also came in around $117 million, or about 57 cents a share. So the company isn't profitable yet, but the balance sheet, it tells a bit of a different story. Navitas ended 2025 with about $237 million in cash and cash equivalents. That's actually up about 173% from the year before. So the company still has significant liquidity to support this transition to Navitas 2.0. Now, looking specifically at the fourth quarter, revenue came in at around $7 million. The company reported an operating loss of about $41 million, including roughly $17 million in restructuring and impairment charges, all tied to the shift towards GaN and high voltage SiC products. Net loss for the quarter was about $32 million, or about 14 cents a share. Now, looking ahead, management expects first quarter 2026 revenue between 8 and 8.5 million, with a gross margin around 38.7% on a non-GAAP basis, with operating expenses hitting 15 million, again, non-GAAP. So the company is still early in this transition. So the big question becomes valuation. I mean, it's $9 a share. Navitas has a market cap of about 2.2 billion. And this is where things start to get interesting, because the stock currently trades at roughly 45 times sales. Wondering if that's expensive? Well, investors are paying about $45 for every dollar of revenue that the company generates. And the stock also trades at a book value of 5 times. Book value is basically what the company would be worth on paper. You take all the assets, subtract the liabilities, and whatever remains is for the shareholders. Now, right now, Navitas's book value is around $2 a share. So the market is clearly assigning a premium valuation. Another thing to consider is volatility. Navitas has a 60-month beta of 3.16. This means the stock historically moves about 3 times as much as the S&P 500 in either direction. So you'd have thought this would be a volatile ride, and it has been. At 45 times sales, investors are clearly pricing in aggressive future revenue growth. I mean, and the market is betting the demand from AI data centers, electrification, and other high-efficiency power systems will one day translate into stronger revenue acceleration, well, at least over the next few years. But if it doesn't show up, the downside risk becomes much larger. Now, let's have a look at the analysts. Right now, a consensus among 9 analysts rate Navitas stock a hold, and that rating has remained fairly stable over the last 3 months. The average score is 3.22 out of 5, and the highest price target is around $13 a share. That suggests there's as much as 44% potential upside from recent prices. Now, to me, Navitas isn't the traditional value stock, right? This is really a transition growth story. The company is shifting its business towards high-power GaN and silicon carbide markets, all tied to AI infrastructure and electrification. And I think the strategy will probably work. At $9 a share, though, investors are essentially paying today for the expectation that revenue begins accelerating later this year. So if you believe the company's push into high-power markets is real and sustainable, then an entry at this price could make sense. But you'd also have to accept that volatility will probably remain very high. Now, for more conservative investors like myself, the setup may look more attractive if the stock pulled back a little bit more, or when the valuation compresses, but the balance sheet and long-term roadmap have to remain intact. Look, at the end of the day, the investment thesis really comes down to one key question. Do you believe revenue is about to turn the corner? Because if it does, the growth story is going to start to justify that valuation. And if it doesn't, the multiple is going to compress. Now, before I go, now I'm going to turn it over to you. Do you think Navitas is going in the right direction? Do you think that they're going to get these multiple revenue increases this year? Or are you waiting for a pullback before buying? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're there, if you found the video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, because it'll help others find this video. It supports the channel, and it makes sure that you don't miss out on my next deep dive. Well, that's it for me today, at least in this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.